Yeah, most definitely. When you hear that, you know by nature is back, right? Sunday afternoon. Some call it a program. I insist it's a promise.
Joy 99.7 FM.
That's right, it's Ultimate Health, your ultimate guide to healthy living. This and every Sunday, 2:05. For the past 20-something years. And I'm so glad and humbled you're locked on.
Joy 99.7 FM.
And that's righty. We have reason to celebrate you, our loyal, discerning listeners. From the depths of our hearts, my colleagues and I at Joy FM wish to say a very big thank you to you. For supporting us to stay true to our brand. Our biggest motivation is knowing that you are always tuned in, listening, engaging, giving us feedback. We don't take that for granted. Can't thank you enough. God bless you all.
Joy 99.7 FM.
That's right, and as part of showing our appreciation for your continued support, and we are bringing you the Joy FM Loyal Listener promo. I'll give you those details in a bit, but not without joy from Teddy Pendergrass.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Oh man, I ain't seen you in a long time. Brother, come
That's
on.
righty.
Sit on down and relax yourself. Take your shoes off.
So all you got to do is WhatsApp a message to us on 055 11 11 997.
Man, I want you to check out this group, okay?
Tell us why you love Joy FM so much.
Down right here.
We'd love to know how long you've been listening to us, where you listen to us from, as well as which of our programs, presenters, projects, and events are your favorites. You just might be one of the lucky winners of the many amazing prizes we have in store for you. An all-expense-paid trip to Dubai, weekend stays at the Maha Beach Resort, family time vouchers and weekend stays at the Labadi Beach Hotel, and some really good treats from the Cheche Hotel. We are indeed grateful, and remember, we love and appreciate you. Send all your entries to WhatsApp 055 11 11 997 using the hashtag LoveJoyFM.
I get such a rush, crave to feel your tender.
That's righty. Let me pull this one back, eh? Teddy P.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Salute to all our loyal
Now,
listeners.
brother, come on in, man.
You're in a class of your own.
Take your shoes off. I want to listen. I got a song I want you to hear.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Man, I want you to check out this group, okay? But hold on one second. Put the needle down right here. Check it out. Joy.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Be near you. I want you here with me. So joy to be near you. I want you here with me. Baby, can't you see just how much you mean to me? Get a thrill each time I'm near you. I get such a rush, crave to feel your tender touch. Magic moment, paradise. Oh, baby, life is too damn short to let you get away. Here to say I need your love. Oh, baby, there's no greater pleasure than you give to me. Hear me, baby, I want you to know.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Joy to be near you.
FM.
Darling, don't you know my heart longs to hold you so. Passion burns inside my mind. You're my fantasy. What a love can set me free. Glad to know that you're all mine. Sailing through the night, I find the same pleasures. Use the stars for like the moon, so full of love.
Joy 99.7 FM.
But all we need is you and me, baby. It's a joy to be near you. I want you here with me. It's a joy to be. I want to be near you. I want you.
That's right, always a joy to be here.
It's a joy
on your behalf
to be
each and every day, including my Sunday, right? So welcome to Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 F with me, Norte by Nature. Listen every Sunday, as we usually say, if it impacts on your life, your well-being, we will definitely talk about it. Today we're talking about diabetes. 14th November, I think next Tuesday, is World Diabetes Day. Today we're stepping up our diabetes awareness series. Know your risk, know your response. So I'm with a senior physician specialist based at the Trust Hospital here in Accra. He's also a senior resident in endocrinology at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. My own good friend, Dr. Chris Adai, is with us. We'll be going through the risk. Today, he sent me an app that helps you compute your risk. That's right. I see. I mean, the data for Ghana, I'll be sharing that in a second. Prevalence. About 7.5% of our population has type 2 diabetes. Many of them are not yet diagnosed. So you got to listen up and share with your friends and family. Ultimate Health, we're talking about diabetes. Know your risk, know your response. Doc, it's been a while.
Yes, it has.
Yeah, I was trying to tease out from you when we were starting how long you've been listening to Joy. And you said, ask my wife.
Or maybe even before I married her. So
even before?
I've been listening right from inception.
Right.
From the days of Zomelo and Komla Dumont and other guys.
Once you mentioned Maoku Zomelo, then I know you've been there. Okay, Sonny Decker and co.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Righty. Great to have you, and great to also have you as a loyal listener. Listeners, you may have heard my intro about our loyal listener promo. Lots of goodies out there. Fully expense paid trip to Dubai. How do I never ever get to go? All right. So I need to move and become a listener. Anyway, so 14th is World Diabetes Day. The date was chosen, the birthday of one of the discoverers of insulin.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So 14th is World Diabetes Day, and we want to ramp up people's understanding of the condition, the understanding of risk and risk factors, and then they can partner all of us in responding to diabetes. So, Doc, just share with us, how would you break it down? What is diabetes in the most simple terms?
Okay, so simply I'll say that diabetes is a medical condition or a disorder in which the body finds it difficult to handle the blood glucose that would ensue normally after you have eaten.
Right.
Yes, simply put.
Okay. So when we eat, it's broken down and we get a source of energy,
yes.
Glucose.
Yes.
Right? Lots of people like to say sugar, but we want to stick to the proper terminology so that people don't get lost. Glucose. Now, when we eat, the body has to break down what we've eaten, right? And extract or break down this glucose and then send it to the body cells to be used as fuel for the body.
Yes.
Right. And you're saying there's a condition where we are not able to undertake this process normally.
Sure. So we need a hormone called insulin.
Right.
that has to move the blood glucose into the cells,
okay,
so that it can be utilized.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see the insulin as a form of a lock,
right,
or a key,
right,
and then the lock in the cell door,
okay,
it will open it and allow the glucose to enter, so it
okay,
can be utilized.
right.
But there's a problem with this insulin,
okay,
and it cannot do its job.
So without this key, without this password,
yes,
right, what happens to the glucose? It's been broken down, it's in the system, right? What happens to it?
Yeah, so it stays in the blood,
mm-hmm,
and then the levels go up.
Okay.
And once the level stays up, it leads to all manner of complications.
Okay.
And that's why we are worried about it.
Right. So what you're saying is that we take in food, we nourish the body.
Yes,
okay? We have to do that.
Yes, we have to.
And then we have to work with this nourishment.
Yes.
Right? And you're saying there's a medical condition, diabetes, where the tools and equipment for breaking this down and harnessing it, right, and generating energy and so on and so forth for the body to use is compromised. It's not working properly.
Sure.
So let me help you, or let me get you to help us and our listeners to understand, in the normal situation, what happens. It's broken down, it gets access to the cells, and
okay.
yeah.
Okay, so in the normal situation, the three main macronutrients, that's the food nutrients.
Okay.
We have carbohydrates, we have protein, and we have
Fats, that's right.
So we'll concentrate on the carbohydrates.
Right.
The insulin also acts on the protein as well as the fats. But to understand, I want us to focus on the carbohydrates.
Okay.
So you break down your carbohydrates, which is complex, and then you get the simple sugars, which is the glucose that you talked about.
Right.
So whether you have diabetes or you don't have diabetes, this normal digestive process goes on.
Okay.
And then you get the glucose from the carbohydrates. What happens afterwards is where the problem is.
Okay.
So now that the glucose has to be moved from the blood into the cells for them to use it to produce the energy, they don't just move in automatically. They need the insulin to be able to move in, which is the door and the lock and key that I mentioned about.
Right.
And in diabetes, you can't do this properly.
All right.
And that is what leads to all the problems. So the glucose stays in the blood, it goes up, and then it causes all the complications we'll talk about.
All right. Listeners, if you just joined us about 2:15 on a Sunday afternoon, the program is Ultimate Health, your ultimate guide to healthy living, with me, Norte by Nature. I'm in the studio with Dr. Chris Adai. He's a senior specialist physician, right, with the Trust Hospital. He's also a senior resident in endocrinology, right, which is the field in which we put all of these metabolic and other conditions or disorders. We're trying to understand and get your understanding of diabetes. Okay, so what we just heard is that when we eat, we break it down, and one of the breakdown products is glucose, which is fuel for the body, right?
Yes.
Then the body secretes this hormone, insulin, which is the key, which is critical for moving this glucose into the blood system and into cells of the body for use. In diabetes, you have a problem with this process. Either you don't produce the insulin at all, or you are not responding to it the way you should. All right? If you have any questions, concerns, WhatsApp is 055 11 11 997, right? And we'll deal with those questions, okay? If you're diabetic, share your experiences. Remember, our loyal listener program is also on. So the same WhatsApp, you send your entries to 055 11 11 997. Tell us why you love Joy FM so much. We'd love to know how long you've been listening to us, where you listen to us from, as well as which of our programs you love, presenters, projects, events, etc. Which of these are your favorites, okay? And you might be one of the lucky winners to get an all-expense paid trip to Dubai, weekend stays at Maha Beach Resort, family time vouchers and weekend stays at the Labadi Beach Hotel. Many more. Just send your WhatsApp to 055 11 11 997, hashtag LoveJoyFM. Right, so Doc, it means that normally, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but normally as I eat, my blood glucose will go up.
That's correct.
Right? And then insulin kicks in and brings it to a level which is, should I say, acceptable.
Yes.
Right?
By moving the sugar into the cells.
Okay.
Yes.
So a rise in blood sugar after you eat is normal.
It's normal.
It's normal.
It's normal.
Okay, but it must be brought down.
Definitely.
Okay. In this disease condition or disorder we're talking about, diabetes, we're saying that there's a problem in regulating the levels of insulin, glucose, right? Because there's a problem with insulin production or its
action. Yes.
Okay. So what is the big deal? Okay, I've eaten. God, gave me food. I've taken it in. It's in my system. Why are increased or elevated levels of blood glucose problematic?
Okay. It's problematic because, you see, it's not just the rise in the blood glucose. The blood glucose has risen because the glucose has not gone to where it's supposed to go to.
Okay.
It is needed in the cells, all the cells of the body.
Right.
If you take the brain, for instance, the brain is such a peculiar organ that it uses only glucose.
Right.
In fact, when you have a problem with low blood glucose, which we shall come to, sometimes it happens.
Hypoglycemia. Right.
Your brain really suffers because unlike the other organs which can switch to using protein or fats, the brain would use only glucose. And so you see that the brain begins to suffer and it begins to give you all manner of warnings. Like the sensor in your car would warn you if you are getting close to another object. So it is not just the sugar being high in the blood, but it's supposed to go to the cells for them to be utilized to give you energy and then all the other processes that go on in the body.
Okay.
So that is one of the main problems.
Right.
And that's why you will feel tired because you lack energy. If you don't put fuel in the car can't go anywhere.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
And
so,
then, yes.
So you're tiptoeing into signs and symptoms. We'll get there in a sec. So we're understanding that it should not remain elevated for too long.
Yes.
And that elevation, excess glucose in the system is akin to, I have to use this example, but the rising level of the Akosombo Dam.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If there's no activation of insulin and therefore some proper directed control spillage into the cells that need it to function, then there's a problem.
Absolutely. I think I like your analogy.
There's a problem.
That's good.
Okie dokie. Right. My understanding again, Doc, is that the pancreas produces insulin.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. So is it a problem of generation, distribution? What causes diabetes?
Okay. To answer this, I have to talk about the two main types.
Okay.
So we have type 1 diabetes, and then we have type 2.
Okay.
There are other forms.
Okay. That tells me that then they may have different antecedents or different causes.
Exactly.
Hence your need to go into the types. Great stuff.
Exactly.
Okay. Right.
Because like we said earlier on, either you don't produce the insulin or you don't respond well to its action.
Okay.
If you don't produce the insulin, that is type 1 diabetes.
Okay.
So the pancreas, which is the factory, let's say it has been bombed. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
And therefore, production has shut down.
Okay.
And so you don't have insulin. And that is why you need insulin in type 1 to survive.
Okay.
And that is why those who discovered insulin got the Nobel Prize.
Right.
Because before then, type 1 diabetes diagnosis will be a death sentence.
Okay. So there's no production.
Yes, there's no production.
Is it because the
factory has been destroyed?
It's been destroyed.
Where the insulin is produced, a particular group of cells, we call the beta cells, the islet cells, they have been destroyed, so they are not producing insulin.
Right. Is this something from birth or can it be secondary or later? Can it be acquired?
Yes, it is usually acquired, but in the early stages of life. That's why young adults and children normally get the type 1.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you have type 1 diabetes, you're not producing the insulin in the first place.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
There's a problem in production.
Exactly.
Right. So then how in heaven's name are you handling the glucose? You're not handling it at all.
You are not handling it at all. So you really need insulin to survive.
Right.
That is why you really need insulin for type 1.
Okay. Doc, if I have type 1 diabetes,
yes,
and I'm unaware of it, are there any telltale signs and symptoms that might show that I am insulin deficient? I don't have it. I don't produce it, right? Okay. Because my understanding is that many, in fact, a significant number of people with diabetes are unaware of their status.
Okay.
And since our tag theme is know your risk, you've got to understand if you are even in the pool to start with.
Definitely.
All right.
Definitely. So normally when we say a lot of people are not aware of their diabetes status, we usually are referring to type 2.
Type 2.
which I will come to shortly.
Okay.
Yes, because like I said, for the type 1, you don't have the insulin at all. And so you develop the symptoms very rapidly.
Right.
It's difficult for you to go a long period of time without showing symptoms for type 1.
Okay.
Because you don't have the insulin at all, you develop symptoms
in type 1. The symptoms will be evident or manifest very early.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But for the type 2, the problem is resistance to the action of the insulin. So that's what you said. You are not responding well to the insulin.
Okay.
So in fact, even in type 2, you may be producing a lot more insulin than normal, because when the body is not responding well to the insulin, the pancreas tries to overcome that resistance by producing more of the insulin.
Okay.
So
what your body is saying, I've released the insulin, the levels are still high, release more.
Yes, because the ones that are there are not doing what they are supposed to do.
So in a sense, you are overworking those beta cells in the pancreas. Exactly. All right. Exactly. So there's more or there's excess insulin in the system.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why we say that there's insulin resistance.
Right.
You may have the insulin, but you are not responding well to the
resistance.
insulin. Yes.
Okie dokie.
Exactly.
Right.
And so the body produces more in an attempt to overcome it.
Right.
But you can only do so much. After a long period of time, the pancreas will get exhausted and then the levels will start coming down.
All right, folks, if you just joined us, 24 minutes past the hour of 2 on Joy 99.7 FM, your dial of distinction and discernment. The program is Ultimate Health, your ultimate guide to healthy living with me, Norte by Nature. I'm in the studio with Dr. Chris Adai. Chale, this is his territory. He's a senior physician specialist at the Trust Hospital. He's also at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, where he's a senior resident in endocrinology. Yes, let me take my time. I don't know but basically we're looking at this metabolic disorder, diabetes, where your system, right, is unable to produce and should I say effectively use insulin to bring down your glucose levels and also harness the glucose for use by your body cells. Critical. Used by your body cells, right? And we'll look at some of the signs and symptoms. If you're diabetic, share with us 055-1111-997. And we're live on Facebook and YouTube. And shortly, I will activate the phone line so that you can generate your own questions, not insulin, right? Questions to Dr. Adai. Right, so we've gotten this distinction. In one, you're not producing, and therefore the problem arises.
Yes.
But arises from a deficiency or a lack of insulin.
Correct.
To regulate the passage of glucose into the cells.
Correct.
Okay? And in two, you're producing it, but it's not doing anything. Zilch.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And that is also a problem.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So in type 1, these are people or persons who will need external sources of insulin.
Correct.
Right? We can give them insulin.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
And then that would start to work.
Yes.
So, Doc, let me ask. So, if I'm type 1 and I'm giving external insulin, not produced by the pancreas,
yes,
but injected or introduced into my system, administered.
Yes.
Right. So, straight away, my system will work?
Yes,
it should recognize it and kick into action.
Definitely. So yes, because we actually isolated the human insulin, studied it, and then we have done a replica.
Okay.
So it will work just like the normal insulin if you are producing it.
Is it possible if I had type 1 that you will introduce the insulin and also find out that I have a problem with the impact or the effect of insulin, like in type 2, that I'm not able to use it properly? Is it possible?
No, that's not what happens.
That's not.
Yes.
Okay.
For the resistance, it is a problem with type 2.
Okay.
Yes.
When you have a problem, hey, right? Then it means that we thought it was just the deficiency. We introduced the insulin, and still Ghana had it. It can't happen like that.
No,
it's unlikely.
No.
Okay. All right, folks. Let me read a couple of messages. Good day, Norte. I love Joy FM and I sleep with it. Oy. All my family and friends who listen to Joy FM call me Joy Mama. I remember one day my supervisor told me to stop the work and work with Joy FM. Even a lot of people ask me if I have shares in or with Joy FM, and my answer to them is yes. I'm a shareholder. Norte, I want to type. If I want to type, I will type the whole day because each and every one at Joy FM is amazing, from our our great and inspiring pastors at Joy FM. We say, may the good Lord continue to strengthen them all. To Kojo Youngson and the team, that's the SMS team. When it's Friday, Kojo will be a rascal for saying Friday. And Samuel Dami laughing is irritating. To my amazing ma, Doreen, Sammy Forson will make sure he reads each and every message before his time. Kofi Hayford can laugh, sir. Just to mention a few, because Joy FM is from ancient to modern. This is from Sarah Manful in Winnipeg. Sarah, we love you too, eh? Hey, Samuel Dami, your laughter. Okay. This one quickly says, I've been listening to Joy for the past 15 years. My favorite program is Home Affairs with Edem Knight. Right? No name there. Do add your names, okay? Do add your names. We can't send nameless ghosts to Dubai. I love Joy FM because of the morning show, especially the weekend warmer and open house party. I want to say for a fact that since 1999, I've been listening to Joy, and DJ Black made me to pass my SSCE because I had to learn deep into the night just to listen to DJ Black. Is that in the syllabus? This is from Senyo in Keta, right? Wow. This one says, it's from Annie, right? I'm Annie inside Tema, Community 17. I'm a loyal listener and I have been listening to Joy FM since I was 6. That sounds like an addiction, eh? I listen with my family. We love the Super Morning Show, and I really like Kojo Youngson, Winston Amwa, and the rest of the team. Okay, Annie inside Tema. Send yours, and I'll also send your questions on diabetes as well. I've been listening to, for the past 15 years, my favorite program is Home Affairs with Edem Naite, and my name is Petrina Boham. Petrina, love to you out there as well. We're talking about diabetes. We're breaking it down with Dr. Chris Adai. 29 minutes past the hour of 2 on Joy 99.7 FM. Right. So, we've understood the two types, right? We started going into signs and symptoms. Let's start or go back to type 1, where you said the symptoms will show quite early, and because you don't have the insulin, definitely we'll see some of these signs and symptoms. What are they?
Okay, so the cardinal symptoms are excessive urination.
Right.
You pass a lot of urine.
Okay.
And as a result of that, you feel dehydrated.
Okay.
And then you would have increased thirst.
Right.
So as you are going to the washroom a lot of times,
right,
you would also be drinking a lot of water.
Okay. Doc, I hate to put you on the witness stand or in the dock, but when we say excessive urination, is it the number of times? Is it the amount? Can we clarify that? Because we're giving out cardinal signs and symptoms. So when you say excessive for, let's say, an adult like you or me, what's excessive?
Okay, so I would say it is both in terms of frequency and then the amount.
Okay.
But not to be very academic, we would just compare it to what you used to do.
Okay.
So if you used to pass urine, let's say 2 or 3 times in a day.
All right.
And then all of a sudden you are now doing 6, 7, 8 times. Okay. That is more than the usual.
So frequency and quantity.
Yes.
All right. But you're suggesting a change from the norm.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So you're peeing a lot.
Yes.
And you're drinking a lot of water.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. We're talking about water here.
Yes.
So you actually do feel thirsty.
You feel very thirsty because you are losing a lot of water.
Okay.
And so the body has to warn you to replace what you have lost.
Okay. So the body is giving signals.
Yes.
And it's also giving its own pre-programmed responses.
Exactly.
To these signals.
Exactly.
Okay. Right.
Exactly.
All right. So urination, thirst.
Yes. You lose weight. You lose a lot of weight.
Right.
Yes.
Weight loss.
Yes.
Why?
Weight loss. Partly because you see the glucose, which you are supposed to use as energy, you are losing that one in the urine.
Okay.
So once you are losing energy, you would lose weight.
Okay.
And then also because the body is about 60 to 70% water, if you lose a lot of water, you will lose weight.
Okay.
Right. So weight loss is also very significant.
Okay. Right. Yes. Clarify this for me. I read up, and it says that one of the things the body does is that if you're not giving it the energy and the nutrients, then it will go into its savings account. And then the fat that you've laid down, it starts to convert that and to generate energy, and that's also one of the reasons for the weight loss.
You are absolutely right.
Right.
The body will try to do whatever it can to survive.
Okay.
And so if it cannot utilize this one, then it will switch onto some other thing like fat and then protein.
Okay.
The problem here is that the same insulin also is required even in the metabolism or the breakdown of those things too.
Okay.
So it will lead to other problems too.
Right.
It
Which
will
we'll
lead to other problems too. Yes.
Folks, bear with us. We'll take our time. We'll come to complications of diabetes. You know me, when I start something, I'm obsessive. We might do 2 programs, 3 programs to make sure you understand, right? To know your risk and know your response to diabetes. And we'll get to the numbers in a bit. Right, we haven't done numbers yet. Yes. I know some of you are itching, right? And talking of itching, Doc, I read that itching and some of these STIs are part of the symptoms.
You are right. You are right. You know, all these problems lead to so many other issues. So, in fact, as you pass a lot of urine and there is sugar in it, so the women are prone to candidiasis, what they call white, because there's all that sugar in the genital area, and so it feeds all these microorganisms. So you get a lot of urinary tract infections, genital tract infections, yes, and then you would have all this itching too, because there's dryness of your skin because of all that loss of water. You know, your immunity also goes down. You get repeated infections. And then when you have a wound, the healing is very poor. You know, because of all the derangement that is going on in the body.
Itching, some of these STIs, slow healing wounds or sores.
Yes.
Be mindful of that, right? Are we done with the symptoms? Anything else?
So for now, these are the cardinal ones. There are a lot of things can but these are the cardinal ones. Yes.
Right. Doc, would we be right in saying that the complications that may arise from uncontrolled blood sugar as a result of diabetes would not rightly or properly be labeled as symptoms?
No, complications are totally different from symptoms.
So if I have blurred vision, for example, as a result or secondary to diabetes, we wouldn't call that a symptom.
Okay, so blurred vision can be a symptom. It can also be as a result of a complication.
One would say, oh yeah, you're blurred.
And let me clarify quickly before I create any confusion.
Before we get bled.
Yes, you see, when your blood sugar is very high, it disturbs the fluid in the eye and then the lens. You know, so there can be cloudiness in the eye and it leads to blurred vision. So that one is a symptom because the sugar is high. But if we are able to manage you and bring the sugar down, that will clear.
It should remit. It should resolve.
Yes, that should resolve. So in that sense, that blurred vision would be a symptom. But if over the long period of time, your diabetes is poorly controlled, you can develop a complication we call retinopathy. Yes, so that one is damage to the back lining of the eye. And that one is a complication which can lead to blindness. So that is why I'm saying that the blurred vision in this instance, it can be a symptom as well.
Don't get it twisted, don't get it blurred. We're explaining. If you have questions, concerns, 055 1111 997. Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Norte by Nature. We are dissecting diabetes. We are demystifying diabetes. That's the job we do every Sunday, depending on the condition or the topic. You can join us, WhatsApp 055 1111 997. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, and you are most welcome. Without you, we are incomplete. All right. Good afternoon, Norte. Oops, where is it? I'm on psychiatric treatment, and I'm on olanzapine. One of the side effects of the drug is diabetes mellitus. I'm prone to becoming a diabetic patient. Many of us read and we do hear mention of medicines and how they can complicate your reaction to glucose or your processing of glucose, and very often it's tagged to specific drugs. Any comment on this, Doc?
Okay. Well, the listener, went ahead of us, but that is fine because he's being practical. He's talking about himself. So, we have been talking about type 1, but most of these things will be with the type 2. Yes. So when we come to type 2, then the risk factors that you say will come to shortly. Certain drugs are also risk factors for the development of type 2. So the olanzapine that he's talking about, yes, it's an antipsychotic drug, and we know it can lead to diabetes. Yes.
Right. It doesn't mean it's not a good medication.
Not at all.
Those things are managed and balanced properly. That is why these things are prescribed by qualified professionals. You don't just go into the pharmacy and say, I don't need the doctor anymore, I'm treating myself. So Good one. Thanks for sharing. Joy FM. If Joy FM isn't your typical radio station, then you are listening, or you are losing out a lot. With Joy, you'll hear great music, news anchors, experience, fun, and meaningful conversations about real life. I love Joy FM, and sometimes I wonder whether all the pleasures are not substitutes. All pleasures are not substitutes for joy. Wow. All right. So listen and find encouragement and purpose and fun. I started listening to Joy in 2005 and I have not stopped listening. And I love all the Joy teams, especially the news team with Kojo Yankson, country music with Iggy, Doreen Andor, with Brunch in the City. And in fact, the list goes on. Joy is simply the best. This is from Elinam in Adenta. Remember, hashtag LoveJoyFM, right? Remember that, okay? Get your hashtag correct, because somewhere, somehow, we know we'll get plenty, loads of messages, and we will have to find a means of disqualifying some, right? So make sure you qualify in the first place, eh? Otherwise, you know, some of those people who get into elections, primaries and all that, and they come out to shit. Yeah. All right. Great stuff. This is all joy. I'll go back to read on those in a minute. But let's get to the chase again. So we've understood this, right? Weight loss, excessive urination, excessive thirst, slow healing, ulcers or sores, itching, irritation,
infections, urinary tract,
STIs.
genital, yes.
Okie dokie. Now, you're urinating a lot. Let's clarify this one. Some people say if you have diabetes and you pee, ants will gather around the urine. Is that factual, or is just an anecdote to refer to excess glucose in your urine?
Okay, so because there's glucose, I mean, glucose is a type of sugar. So once you have glucose in the urine, yes, ants may come around it. But what I would say is that you don't only use that one.
It's not a diagnosis.
It's not what you should use,
right.
As a surrogate. Because you can have diabetes, but there may be no sugar in the urine.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
And that's why we stopped using the urine to diagnose a long time ago. We use the blood.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. We're taking our time. We'll come to conclusive, emphatic clinical diagnosis in a sec, right? If you just join us 40 minutes past the hour of 2. I tune in to all the programs each day from That's My Opinion to Albert Okran's Sunday show. I really love Joy FM. Lots of love, and heart emojis. I love Joy FM. Okay, about the diabetes. I had a friend who died of diabetes at age 16. We were told she was on stage 4. Later, we realized her parents were not aware. So can it be possible that at that young age, she was at a stage 4 diabetes without showing any signs, symptoms? Okay, right. That's your account. We don't know whether she was showing something and nobody was responding. Doc, 16-year-old. Any comments?
Yes. So, I mean, he or she could have had diabetes for a very long time, because you can have diabetes at age 2, 3, 4, you know. So if it is poorly managed over the period, it can lead to a complication.
Right.
The stage 4 he's talking about, I'm sure he's talking about chronic kidney disease.
Right.
We don't talk about stages when we are dealing with diabetes.
Right.
So I'm sure he's referring to kidney disease.
Right. So
yes. So stage 4 is advanced kidney disease.
As a result or secondary to diabetes.
Of the long-standing diabetes, which was probably poorly managed.
Right. Oh, reminds me so much of Dr. Beecham, the late Dr. Beecham. He would say diabetes goes everywhere blood goes, right? And we'll get to those complications in the coming weeks, right? Good afternoon, Norte. How are you? And Doc, my favorite program in Joy FM activities is the ultimate. Okay, he says ultimate help. You pay one goat. Ultimate Health and Geek Squad. Joy FM is my favorite. Always on Joy FM, especially Sunday programs by Norte. Now, my question about diabetes is that what type of diabetes should a person be? What types of diabetes should a person be risk for? Hayford in Bato. Okay, you're still on the risk factors, I guess. We'll get back to that. Thanks for listening, and thanks for giving us a thumbs up there. This one says, I'm over 60, and all that I can say is Joy FM is simply a college. A college, right? You want to make that a university? Right. This is Richard. It says Agape in Ablekuma. He's over 60. And he says Joy FM is an institution, a college, right? Abeku, we need to do a jingle with that, Joy FM School, College. Awesome stuff. Good afternoon, Norte. Please find out. Oops, where is it? Ooh. My vision blurred, Doc. Good afternoon, Norte. Please find out from your guest if there's a relationship between diabetes and hypertension. Joseph is my name. Thank you. Linkage, relationship. Okay. Diabetes and hypertension, are they bedmates?
Okay. So maybe, Norte, we should move quickly to the risk factors, and then I think it will help with some of these questions.
Okay, great stuff.
Yeah. So now talking about type 2 diabetes, because that is what constitutes the bulk of the diabetes.
Right.
In fact, for every 10 people, if you take 10 people with diabetes, 9 out of the 10 is type 2.
Right.
It's only 1 out of the 10 which is type 1. You know, and type 1 is very common in children.
Okay.
It can occur in adults, but it's usually common in children. And then type 2 is predominantly in adults.
Okay.
Even though now, because of obesity in childhood,
right,
their incidence is also increasing in children. So when we talk about type 2 diabetes, that is what is preventable because we know the risk factors. You really cannot prevent type 1 diabetes, but you can prevent type 2 diabetes,
right,
because we know the risk factors. Okay. And yes, hypertension is one of the risk factors.
Right.
So you would notice that most of the patients with hypertension also have diabetes.
Elevated,
blood pressure. Yes,
blood pressure.
Yes,
okay,
it's one of the risk factors. If you have high blood cholesterol, it's also a risk factor.
Right.
So actually, I call them the unholy trinity. Diabetes, hypertension, high blood cholesterol.
Okay.
They normally go together.
Wow.
Yes, one brings on the others.
Doc, say that again. Since we are in college.
Yes.
Joy FM College.
Yes. So I call
the unholy
trinity. Yes.
Say that again.
Diabetes, hypertension, high blood cholesterol.
Whoa.
You know, it is very rare for you to find a patient who has only one of these. Okay. They normally would have 2 or 3.
Right.
You know, because the risk factors are also common to these 3, and then one also is like, he comes somewhere, he says, I'm going to bring my friend.
Okay.
You know, and then he holds their hands and brings them.
Okay.
You know.
I'm sure some of our listeners will want to join our holy trinity in the studio, not the unholy one.
Yes.
Right? Let me activate the phone lines. 030-221-6541. 030-221-6541. We'll try and read as many of your messages as possible and also take as many of your calls as possible to Dr. Chris Adai as we demystify. Take the mask off. Diabetes. 030-221-6541. Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM. Let me also take this opportunity to congratulate one of the newest doctors on the block, Dr. Cordelia Ellis. Whoa. Yes, you made it. Dr. Cordelia Ellis, you made it through Family Health Medical School, and indeed, I think on Thursday, you graduated. Congratulations to you and to your mom, Joyce. Hey, my sweetheart, Joyce Ellis, your mother, because in February, your brother also graduated as a doctor at UCC. Dr. Fred Ellis, Dr. Cordelia Ellis, and Mama, let me call you Doc, Joyce Ellis. Congratulations. Right, 030-221-6541. Let me just give some of the prevalence statistics. A document I pulled out from WHO on Ghana says in Ghana there are about 2.4 million people living with diabetes, and approximately 7.5 of adults have type 2 diabetes. Despite the alarming prevalence of diabetes in Ghana, many people still have not been diagnosed, and there are fears the numbers may be higher. You concur with these numbers, Doc?
Absolutely. In fact, a lot of people globally with diabetes do not know that they have diabetes.
Whoa.
So it is said that 1 out of 2 people with diabetes do not know that they have it.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Let me see who I have on the line. Hello.
Hello, Noche.
Hi. Who am I speaking to?
Oti Wati.
Oti.
The number 1 lawyer listener.
Yes. I'm listening to you, Oti.
Yeah, I'm said about the diabetes. How will I know? Sometimes it's a bit of pressure. So you eat your blood, the pressure is going high, it's low. Do you know from that you have diabetes?
You're saying that if your blood pressure is high, would that be...
Last time I went to hospital, and I went the second day. The first day when they say my pressure is high, they check it for me. The next day it says low. But I'm asking, if you check your pressure is high or low, you tell me that you are getting BP is diabetes or what? Because I want to know the people who can get diabetes.
So he's asking who's at risk. He said he's gone to the clinic. Sometimes his BP is high, they'll check it. Sometimes it's low, and so on and so forth. He's still trying to understand the relationship between this and diabetes.
Okay, so as I've already said, hypertension is a risk factor for diabetes.
Doctor, if you can hold on to that, I think I have another caller on the line. Okay. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Bismarck calling from Tema.
Right, Bismarck. Go ahead.
Yeah, please. Last week you came and did a program after you activate the phone line. But you call. They didn't pick our call.
Last week?
Yes, sir, please.
On Ultimate Health?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay. As soon as my producer notifies me, like he just notified me, I take the call. So I'm sorry about that. But do share your concern for today.
My problem is a friend of mine told me that if you eat late, you get diabetes. I want to know whether it's true.
Okay, so Bismarck is asking. A friend of his tells him or told him if you eat late, you get diabetes. Any factual basis for this?
Okay, so I think we should continue with the risk factors and then it will answer something.
Okay, so we have something on hypertension.
Yes.
We have something on late eating.
Yes.
Right, and diabetes, okay?
Okay.
Alrighty.
Yeah, so hypertension is one of the risk factors. So for the person whose blood pressure keeps moving up and down, they really need to confirm whether he has high blood pressure or not.
Okay.
There's a way to go about it.
All right.
You know, they can measure it over a period of time.
Okay.
And then we would decide definitively whether he has hypertension or not. If he has it, it's one of the risk factors.
Okay.
And in a workup to hypertension, you do the fasting blood sugar as part of the workup.
Okay.
You know. Then the other risk factors, yes, poor diet or unhealthy dietary choices is also one of the risk factors. So that is where this late eating would come in.
All right.
If you eat late, you know, you're already going to bed. You're not going to burn that food for energy. It's going to be stored.
Excess capacity.
Exactly.
It's like Ameri and Car Power
exactly.
and Abuazi and all and you're not using it.
You are not using it.
And it's supposed to be take or pay.
And in the body, if you are not using something, it just sits there as fat.
Understood.
And as for obesity, we can't overemphasize it enough.
Who is obese? Is it just that you are well covered, you have curves, or you have layers? When we say obese, I know the BMI comes in.
Yes, actually, there are other ways of measuring obesity. But for the general public, the BMI is okay.
Okay.
You know, so just
body mass index.
Body mass index is okay. And once it's above 30, you are obese.
Okay.
You know, so we don't argue about it. It's objective.
Right. Okay. That one, the EC will declare no argument. I have a caller on the line. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Matthew.
Yes, who am I speaking to?
This is Babs from Abelington.
Right, Babs, share with us.
Yeah, I want to ask the doc a simple question. My question is, can diabetes be cured or manageable? That's my question.
Can diabetes be cured or should we be talking about management? All right, great question. All right. Babs wants to know, can you cure it or are you in the business of management only?
Okay. That's a very good question. It brings me to a concept we now have in the management of diabetes, what we call reversal of type 2 diabetes.
Right.
Or remission of type 2 diabetes. We don't like to use the word cure.
All right.
Okay, because if we say we can cure you, it means that it won't come back again.
All right.
But when we talk about reversal or remission, it can go into control without you taking medications,
right?
Because you are doing certain things.
Okay.
You are keeping the weight off, you are watching your diet, you are exercising. But the moment you stop those things and then the weight comes back and it will come.
Right.
And so that's why we prefer to use reversal or remission, but not cure.
Not cure.
Not cure.
In that sense, we put it into hiding.
Exactly.
Silent, vibrate only.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
But it's still there.
Yes.
Okay. And then we need to be mindful and we need to be compliant and consistent with what we're doing.
Exactly.
Okay.
In fact, I have two patients in this category. One is come back, but the other one is still keeping it off.
Okay.
You know.
You're saying to us emphatically, if it comes back,
yes,
then you've changed.
Yes.
The profile has changed.
Yes. So the things you were doing, you no longer do them.
Right.
The weight that you kept off, you've brought it back.
Okay.
the dietary things, you've stopped doing them.
Right. You're like a striker who's no longer scoring goals.
Yes.
You were doing something right, but something went wrong.
Yes.
And you might find yourself on the bench. Okie dokie. I have a pile up of glucose on my WhatsApp. And let me see if I can clear some. Good afternoon, Naughty. I've listened to Joy FM from the mid-90s to date. I enjoy listening to Tommy Ann and Thorson, Doreen, and Komla Dumo, and the subsequent generations are equally awesome. Right. I see something above that. It says ACOPD. Do add your names and do add the hashtag LoveJoyFM. Why I love listening to Joy FM. Gosh, 1, 2, how many points? Oof, can I read all this? I started listening to Joy FM when I was in my second year in the senior secondary school. So it means from 1996 to now it's 27 years. Whoa. When I'm on vacation, my mom always leaves me in charge of her mini shop, and I therefore use that period to listen to the various programs on air. I use the worship songs for learning. Now that I'm a wife and a mother, I still love Joy FM. I still listen to Joy FM more, and it's because of all their programs are insightful, educative, and spiritual. Currently, in my home, my children are listen to political programs like Newsfile on Saturday, held by Samson Ayeneni, as well as the medical program on Sunday afternoon. This has impacted greatly on the sort of discussions and questions they do ask me in relation to medical and political issues. My husband and I also listen. Wow, this is a whole thesis. Whoa, my dear darling, what's the name? It says, looking for your name, darling. Can't find it. Hey, send your name, okay? So that it will be registered in Abeku's Chronicles. And it probably will go into the... Why she's typing? All right. Love FM. I'm simply addicted to Joy FM. Wow, another thesis. And I'm addicted to my coffee. I've been listening to Joy FM since its inception. Throughout the day, my dial is locked on 99.7 FM. From the morning show with critical discussions of social, economic, and political issues with Kojo Yankson, Mama V, and Winston, not Houston. Then comes the Queen of the Airways, Doreen. I don't miss Sammy B with cool music. That's Ignition, right? Then we move to Yo City with Lexis Bill for the late afternoon drive. Yes, Diasa Manche. Lexis Bill is one of my favorite. He always has a way of making you laugh, even on your bad days. 5:30 p.m. comes the top news, all the way to 6 p.m. with the major news analysis takes place with grilling questions by the senior news editor. I don't miss Sammy B and those two guys who... This is from Justice Edu. Right. Okay, I've got to do a wrap-up with Doc. All these will be registered. This is... Let me see if I can read this one. I know Dede is a loyal listener all the way in Maryland. What about those in diaspora? Are they qualified to enter? Dede, we can send you to Dubai, all right? Maybe you just take the train from Maryland. Yeah, we can. Truth or myth? It is said that when one urinates and it's foamy, then one has diabetes. This is from Dede. Let's do that, and I'll see if I can chip in a few more with permission from my producer before I wrap up. Yes, Doc. Foamy urine. Okay. Foamy urine.
Okay, so the issue of foamy urine, when your urine is foamy, it normally means you have a lot of protein in the urine, which shouldn't be.
Should not be.
So it's actually more of a warning sign that you may have a kidney disease, you know.
Doc, we're still in Joy FM College.
Yes.
University.
Yes.
So say it again. Hit it again.
So I'm assuming that maybe the person has diabetes and over the period he's noticed that the urine is now foamy. Then maybe you are throwing out so much protein into the urine. Then there's a problem with the kidney.
Proteinuria? Is that
yes.
Say it. So my listeners don't joke in class. So.
Yes. So proteinuria is protein in the urine.
Protein in the urine.
Yes.
Okay.
There's only a minimal amount of protein is allowed into the urine.
All right.
So when it goes beyond a certain threshold, it becomes normal.
Okay.
It means your kidneys are leaky.
Right.
And they are allowing the protein to go through.
All these leave biomarkers in the body, and there are lab investigations to confirm some of this.
Definitely.
Doc, I've got about 4 minutes, but I know Abeku will give me a bit more time. But how do we confirm a diagnosis of diabetes? And does that confirmation come with a qualification of the type that you have? Even before we get to treatment or anything that might happen after that.
Definitely.
What is the diagnosis? How is it arrived at?
Okay. So there are criteria for diagnosis.
Okay.
So when we check your fasting blood sugar,
okay,
and it is more than 7 millimoles per liter on at least 2 occasions.
On at least 2 occasions.
2 occasions.
All right. I know there are 2 units of measurement.
Yes, that's why I specified, because the Americans use milligram per deciliter.
And that is the one with the high numbers.
That is those high numbers.
All right.
The rest of the world.
Doc, can you please? We are in Kokomimle.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. We have a flag, but we're in Kokomimle.
Yes.
Right. So when you say fasting blood sugar,
yes,
which is after a period that you have not eaten.
Yes. So at least 8 hours.
8
so it's
hours.
usually an overnight fast.
Overnight fast.
Yes.
Those of you who wake up and do all sorts of co-minini downstairs in the fridge, in and out, please.
Yes.
8 hours
at least
minimum.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Since your last meal.
Since your last meal.
Which means that all that expected normal or normative elevation has been coming down.
Yes.
And then we take what we call a fasting blood sugar.
Yes.
Right. And you are saying, and when you mention the indices, the number.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The score for blood sugar, please give us the equivalent. Are you able to do that? When you say 6, what's the equivalent in the other one? The one with the high number, the millimeter. The one the Americans use.
Okay. So I think that would be around 126 milligrams per deciliter.
So
yes,
the milli.
So we use millimole per liter.
Okay.
So the small numbers. So 7.
Right.
More than 7 millimole per liter on 2 occasions qualifies for a diagnosis of diabetes.
All right. I'm going to say that again.
Yes.
More than 7
millimoles per liter on at least 2 occasions.
And this refers to fasting blood sugar.
Fasting blood sugar.
All right. Good.
Yes.
All right. We got that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another criteria too is if you have the symptoms that I mentioned, and then you have a random blood sugar. So random is without regard to meals.
Anytime.
Right. Anytime. So in addition to the symptoms, if it is more than 11.1 millimole per liter, that also qualifies for a diagnosis of diabetes.
For random,
yes. But that one is plus symptoms.
All right.
You know, the fasting blood sugar, whether you have symptoms or not,
that measure is indicative.
That's more than 7 on 2 occasions is diagnostic.
Okay.
But if you're going to use a random blood sugar, you must have the symptoms I mentioned earlier on.
Okay. So FBC, fasting blood sugar.
FBS, yes.
FBS, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. And then
the random blood sugar.
Okay.
RBS. Yes.
Where the heck did I get the C from?
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe full blood count, which is a very common.
All right. Oh yeah, full blood. Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Okay. So if you have a random blood sugar higher than 11.1, and alongside that, associated with that, there's evidence of some of the signs and symptoms we talked about.